All right, all right, all right. Let's get this thing started. I think I've got everything set up right. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It's so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is May 9th, 2024, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. How are you doing, chat room? I realized I forgot to bring up my donation dashboards here so that I can keep an eye on things. Let me get that opened up and look at the thing so I can keep up as things happen here. We've raised $1,140. You can see it right there on the screen. We've raised that for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We're continuing all month long raising money for the kids, the families, the staff at St. Jude so they can continue their mission of fighting those nasty diseases that affect kids so early in life. We want to make sure that they've got a shot at a normal life. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support that's chipped in, that's helped out so far. There's a number of options out there if you want to donate and troll, or if you just want to give a couple bucks and have your name and a link put up on the thank you site. We can do that for you as well. But thank you so much to all the folks who have contributed. No pressure, no requirement to contribute. If you just want to subscribe, you want to cheer, you just want to watch the ads when they come by, that's something that you can do that has no impact, no significant cost to you, and I will make donations at the end of the month for all those cheers, subscriptions, and the ad revenue here on the stream. How you doing there, friends? Let me bring up the chat. We're broadcasting live on YouTube and Twitch. Jay's over there on YouTube. How you doing, Jay? Good to see you. Looking here on Twitch, I see Apollo. Good morning. C Sharp Titan. It said you refollowed. I thought you had already, is that a new name or something? Good to see you. Chris Jones is here. Go ahead. I think it knows this one. I think it does.
Now we know.
And knowing
Yeah,
is
there you
half
go.
the
The
battle.
Voodoo Donuts head. I have to fix the lookups on those. Robson Previato had a good discussion last night. There was a problem with how Aspirify.net was handling the colon character in titles of articles. URL escaping. I basically renamed an article last night to get it working again, but we need to deploy this update, this fix to Aspirify.net. The gist of what we need to do, the short the short story is we got to deploy a new environment, configure it, and then just flip over the domain name to the new area and it'll work. That's what they tell me. I've been trying to do that, and because of the enforcement of role-based security that is being done now with AZD in the new version that's being rolled out, and this is one of the reasons that I couldn't deploy, I need to change the way that my code accesses Azure storage, and it's a pain in the neck that I've been fighting for the past day. I think I know where I need to go with it. We'll dig in and talk about that today. How you doing there, Manoj? Good to see you. Null Sheffa was here with a big wave. Hello, hello. So great to see everybody. Thank you so much. Mario, how you doing there on YouTube? Cheers to you. Oh my gosh, and we're getting a raid to get things started here. Hello, hello, TBD Gamer. Coming in on Twitch, bringing in 12 viewers. Thank you so much for the raid. You're here twice now. That's confusing. That's confusing. While I'm waiting for the video to play out there, the welcome ads and whatnot that Twitch has, let me... hang on one second. All right. Yeah, let me get some music playing in the background here. Move that around. My Spotify is a little bit out of place here. There we go. All right. I hate these apps that have everything in the title bar, and now you can't move anything around. I'm not alone. What's it, Chris say? Oh, that's you're here twice. All right, let me get the music playing. I'm gonna go with the EDM playlist because I need to have a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of speed going here. This is called Baseline Blitz. There you go. This is music that's DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. Oh my gosh, Jeremy Knight. Hello.
Jeremy Knight _ me just resubscribed for 52 months. Do the thing.
I will. 52 months, more than 4 years with us. Thank you so much. And we'll be making another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Yeah, I've been fighting this deployment, and I want to do it live. I want to go through and show you what's happening. I want to show you how quite frankly, working with Azure Storage is completely different when you're working locally with the emulator versus when you're in Azure. That doesn't feel good. Let's take a look at this. Let's dive in a little bit. I want to show you some of my source code, and we can double check here, Fritz. Make sure you didn't screw anything up and leave any keys out there that are going to end up doxing ourselves. No, we're good. We're good. So let's head over to the code, and I'll show you what's going on here. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Great to see you. Mario says, don't need to send all the stats to Unreal. Nice. Yes, you can use with reference, and it does send over all the connection strings you need. Yep. That's what I was wondering, So Mari and I were having a discussion on Discord. So, Mario has an Unreal server that I'm assuming pronoun he, that he's using with Aspire, starting up and right, because when we're in our app host here, not only can we add things like Azure Storage and add a container or add projects, but we can also add executables. And when you add an executable and you say, go run this exe on disk, you can also pass in references, right? So I can do something here like say builder, add executable, right? Notepad exe, right? Call it Notepad and it's Notepad exe. And run it in, I don't know, ctemp. And what we can do is we can say with reference, and you can push in references to those other things. So it'll pass them as arguments. I don't know exactly how to parse it out. Works fine with Unreal Engine 5. Nice. So I'm not sure exactly the syntax of the references being passed in. Is it being passed in as a parameter name, in this case blobs, and then the value, or it's not clear. I would want to run this and see exactly. Let's see what happens. Right? Is that an Aspire only thing or a wider .NET thing? Is what an Aspire only thing? This is inside of the Aspire app host. This capability is an Aspire thing. The add executable, that's an Aspire thing, right? I'm adding an executable to the Aspire cluster. So, and this makes perfect sense if you've been building an app with Go or Rust or some other technology, and you have an executable that you want to launch and run as part of the larger application. Yeah, Notepad failed to start, but I can look at the logs and no logs. Details. Endpoints, environment variables. So it passed it in as an environment variable. It didn't pass it as an argument. So was there... Yeah, there's a collection of arguments that you could pass in as strings. So I could say blobs dot resource connection string expression value expression. That is a really long, right? And it will pass, should pass that in. Put an @ sign on that thing. Let's see what happens. C# Titan says, some good news. Got promoted to Azure Solution Architect. Hello. That's phenomenal. My videos have been extremely informative. That is great, C# Titan. Congratulations to you. Seriously. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. So, need an extra... Well, that's a working directory. I think we're okay on that. The endpoint blob is not allocated for the resource storage. Sure, it's right up there. Like, here on Storage Explorer, I do something... Oh. Okay. Can I do that? Can I do that instead? And say dots resource. No. How do I get the connection string out of there? What happens if I just say toString? Who cares? Run it. No, the Bluebeard is not today. We are beard colorless. For now. But we are setting up, I am going to be doing a Hot Ones style tech talk, chicken eating stream. Sure. And move this somewhere else. Yup. Move that off screen. So it opened a file called Aspire Hosting Application Model. So it didn't... It ran. It ran, notepad, there, executable arguments. So you could pass something in there. But I feel like there's a better way to do that. So let me turn off that timer for the beard coloring. There we go. There we go. All right. Yeah, so it did work. It's that connection string reference thing isn't quite there. Amplify Aspirify? We will be. We hope to. We'd like to. I need to fix this little bit in here, and it should go. Should run. So what I'm running into is, hey there, PCHO. Hello, welcome. Inside program. Here's the deal. I'm gonna take you under the covers here and show you how Azure Storage doesn't behave the same in production as it does in the local development experience. So let's open this back up here. Here we go. Okay, so down here on the web, So I passed in and I said, here, go load and use the blobs, queues, and whatnot from Azure Storage. So it sends over connection strings for these things. And when you look at the connection string, when it's running locally, it passes through a connection string. And this is to the Azure emulator. Because if I'm working locally, I'm using the Azure emulator. Azure Storage emulator. You might see it called Azure Write. When you're running in... When you're running and you've deployed it out to Azure, and I tell it, pass in the blob, it passes, and it's kind of hard to see there. I'm trying to get it to highlight. It passes just a URL. Why? Because in Azure, in your production space, it wants to use RBAC, role-based authentication. This way, there is no password being passed around. It's the user who's running this application is granted access to that resource. And you just pass through that this user wants to access this thing, and it works. So it doesn't behave the same in both places. So you have to write some code to handle that. What a pain in the neck. So here's the challenge. Now let's pour a little bit of gas on the fire. When you deploy an Aspire application, it's running inside of a container. ASP.NET applications that run inside of a container generate a machine key, a token, a default token. I'm using machine key to oversimplify it. That was the old term we used. But it generates a token that's unique to that service, that instance of that service, every time it starts up. Consequently, when the service winds down and goes to 0 and then starts back up, it's got a different key. And anybody that was interacting, submitting a form, anything that does anti-forgery validation, or that has a logged-in cookie, those are all invalid. No, this isn't application identity. This is the token that goes with, that is used to encrypt all of those tokens that we pass back and forth. That key, when it gets cycled, that's a problem. So what we do to prevent that cycling, or to also share it with other instances, when you scale your number of containers or your number of instances beyond one, we use a command like this, add data protection. And when we call add data protection, it persists that key to some location. And I had been persisting it to Azure Blob Storage. Just go put it in that connection string where we put the blobs. Done. Where did my St. Jude bits go? There we go. So how do we get past this? So I started writing this bit down here that says persist to Azure Storage, and here's how to go do it. But I think what I need to do, I have a check up here that says, hey, create the security container if it doesn't exist. Let's bring this down here. And let's do these when we're in development running locally. Get rid of this. Put a var there. There we go. So I have the service client. So let's do this here. So if I say container is that one, call this service client. So what I'm doing, right, persist keys to blob storage has a callback function here. So that I can call back and run this after it's been instantiated and we actually have the client registered, which does have the security credentials wired up to it. Create the container if it doesn't, excuse me, if it doesn't exist. So now I can say, I can just say container get blob client for the keys. And that might work. Might. Here's the thing. Since I'm deploying a whole new instance, I need to migrate my data. I need to rebuild all the thumbnails in the new storage location. And then I need to migrate the domain name. That Azure local server thingy. What Azure local server thingy? So that's working because my local instance doesn't have any articles. So I'm okay with that, and there's the error. So kind of nice to be able to see that error and that trace. Hey, it tried to go get data from storage and there wasn't anything there. There will never be an instance once the application is running that there aren't any articles. So I'm okay with this. We're using, are you thinking of .NET Aspire? That's what we're using here today. And it's about to be released in 2 weeks at Microsoft Build. I had some folks on Twitter say that they didn't know Aspire was being released separate from .NET 9. Azure Server, I can't speak to Azure Server. I don't know. There is, are you thinking of Azure Fabric? That's a local instance of Azure, and it's also what they refer to all the database stuff as. There is local Azure services that you can get and install. Yes. Though there are those out there. All right. So that looks like it's working properly. Let's try and build and deploy. So I call AZD up to get it to deploy. And you see I have a bunch of changes here that I've been making for the content that's going to do the deployment when we get it into GitHub. So once we get it into GitHub, we're going to move over the principal that runs this. We're going to make sure that GitHub can deploy to the new location, migrate the data, and then migrate the domain name. So let's put together a checklist to make sure that we're not missing things. Is Aspire a local Kubernetes? Not quite. You can think of it as an orchestration stack, an opinionated orchestration stack that's not just containers. So Murray, I would, because you can add in containers, .NET projects, executables, all kinds of things that you can add in to let it manage. When it gets deployed out to wherever your destination is, it may be in containers. It may use hosted services in that cloud service. So I'm deploying, I'll go back to my code. In my configuration here, I'm saying add Azure storage. When I get to Azure, it'll be Azure storage. But when I'm running here locally, I'm running in a container inside Docker. So, no, it's not Kubernetes. No. It's actually something that orchestrates and manages Kubernetes called Project Tai. That's evolved and does a whole lot more than just. I'm showing you just the orchestration bits here. I showed you a little bit of the tracing and logging. It also does open telemetry, health status management. Yeah, and this easy programmatic deployment. Instead of having to manage all these YAML files with markup, I've got code that helps me organize things properly. And I can put, as you see I've done here, I can put if-def statements around various blocks of things. So I can say, hey, when you're running in this location, do this. When you're running in the debug instance, do this. When you're running in release mode, do that. I can do more than that as well, right? I can inspect and decide other things. So there's lots of options there. All right. So I started. Okay, it says it deployed it. So let's go over here to. That's GitHub. I don't want GitHub just yet, and I should probably merge these. Don't need you. Don't need you. Was talking to somebody about dev tunnels. That is the preview 7 update. Did it arrive? I should get my error there. No. No revisions with issues. If we take a look at the container. Let's pull this into this instance of Firefox. So I've got 1. No, that's not loading. Deprovisioning, it's activating this one. Okay. Let's take a look at the logs. Does Key Vault cost per retrieval? It's like per 10,000 retrievals or something like that. Errors. Wonderful. Specified container already exists. Yes, that's why it's doing a create if container already exists. Yes, good. Good. 409 conflict. Bad. Where'd it go? This program. Close all this other stuff. I'm not working in these other files right now. I don't need to be looking at CSS. We're going to need to update thumbnail service in a little bit here. Yeah, creative doesn't exist. Okay. Because I still have to go over to the thumbnail service and update that. This is just for local dev. Why would I run it in release mode when you get out to production? When I use this to deploy to production. Which is what I'm doing right now. Where was I? Close this one. Back in here. So, where is that coming off of? No. Azure Storage blobs. It's create if not exist. Public access is not permitted on the storage account. I'm not using public access. That was 2 minutes ago. Yeah. So that could be coming out of the thumbnail service, but it's still not running. Nope, that's the current instance. Back up. So it's still activating. Go ahead. So here's the system log. was terminated, container started, container created. Okay, so nothing there. If we look at the console, no, I'm getting nothing from it. Mm-mm. Yeah, it's not starting. It says it's still activating. Show me the log. I don't want the last 24 hours. I want just the last 30 minutes. Azure identity, get token invoked. Okay. I guess that's right. I mean, are those errors? Show me a severity. No. So, I mean, I guess that looks like it's running properly. I don't know. Hey there, Rain. Hello. But the question was about Key Vault. Azure, Key Vault, pricing. I feel like I spend a lot of time each stream just talking about pricing of things. 3 cents per 10,000 transactions. So, advanced key types beyond RSA, software protected keys, 15 cents per 10,000 transactions. So, it's not a huge expense. Automated key rotation. So, I don't use any of those other things. I'm just storing secrets. But I don't know. I guess it's running right. Get token invoked. I guess. I don't know. 2,000 messages. I don't think that's right. Call it a hunch. I don't think that's right. Yeah. All right. For giggles. How you doing there, Drotzayer? Hello, welcome. I'm going to remove this. Turn it off. Sure, database is always the central cost of any. It's been since the 1970s. The database has been where you invest your money when you build a deployment environment. Yes. It's always been where the cost is. Azure looks so cool. Thank you, Apollo. I can't take credit for it, but I'm sure the team likes hearing those kind words. Okay, so that still works with data protection turned off. I don't like that. Right, I don't... Hang on. Wait a minute. I can do this for everybody. I don't need... That should just work here. What happened? There it goes. Yeah, that just works. That was a nice simplification, but push the update, see if it works. So, okay, the couple of steps that we need to take here are going to be verify the site works, update thumbnail service to use Azure storage properly. Add service principal to the new Aspirify resource group. Test GitHub deployment. And then finally migrate domain name. So these are the steps that we're working through, and right now we're on the first one. Verify the site works. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I'm going to add a block of text on screen. Read from file, and I'll have it so that you can see what we're going to be doing here. That's way too big. Way too big. Don't do it. Don't go into the light. What the heck? No. Now where is it? Oh, it's way up there, and it's really, really small. There's a reason that I choose a really big font for this. No, it's too big. Make it smaller so we can see the checklist here. Right, look at this. Fritz is editing on the fly. And it'd be nice if we had a background to that. Yeah, background color. Something like that, so that you can kind of see it. There we go. Hey, Frank. I agree. It's not a valid test if you're changing providers. I totally agree. Do I go as granular as using SQLite to mock EF? No. But I think you can stand up a container. I think you can stand up a container that will run SQL Server with your same structure out there if you'd like. No, that's Frank Boucher. Yeah, test containers. Yep. Can I put a little bit of extra space on this thing? Can I? See, that just doesn't work. Something like this. I think that's all right. Yeah, that fit almost perfectly. There we go. So you can kind of see the steps that we're going to be going through here. All right. And I'll just move this off screen because you don't need to see it while I'm working on this. You don't need to see it twice because it's already right there. But what I will do is I'll split my console so that it's up there. It says it updated the deployment, so let's go back over to Azure and see if it gets it. No, it doesn't get there. Unless it's still deploying, and it shouldn't. Still says activating. No. No, it's not getting the tokens. Bald-bearded builder.
Bald-bearded builder just resubscribed for 49 months. 4 years.
Yeah.
Will the madness never end?
It has to at some point. But nope, not today. How you doing there, my friend? Great to see you. Have the slide updated automatically? Well, I'm going to be able to do things like that. And it updates. But for right now, right? I mean, it's just a little block of text here being brought in by the what's it called? By OBS. No, this is not TagsApp. This is aspirify.net. I have containerized everything. It's the security and access for Azure storage works differently in Azure than it does locally. So I'm hunting around like a blind mouse trying to find this. Like a blind squirrel trying to find a nut. I'm like, no. It is not getting the login token. So now I've taken the request to get the default token out of here. Right? I'm not trying to get the token at all. I'm just now saying when it launches, get the required blob service client, connect out to it, create the container if it doesn't exist, and return a pointer to the keys where I want to store it. Local is Azurite. When you run Azurite locally, like here, because if you don't put run as emulator on here, it tries to connect to somewhere out on Azure. It tries to connect out to the cloud. So if you want to run locally, you have to run as emulator. Okay. I'm going to put some spaces in front of these things. just to nudge that over a bit. So when it runs locally, you get the full connection string delivered into the application, so it knows how to connect with a user ID and password. When you're running in production, you're supposed to be able to just say that, and it just connects and works. As we're seeing here, it doesn't. It tries to connect, and it comes back and says unable to. Right? It's trying to use RBAC to connect. It's trying to use the secure principal, and it can't. It is unable to get the identity. Oh, yeah, for Nova. Oh, totally. Acme. Yes. Completely agree. You walked as emulator using SQLite so you could run as emulator with Azure Storage. But it's not able to get the credentials. Which feels like a big issue. Is this using the system assigned or user assigned? This is using the system assigned. Are you sure it's not because you use an elevated permissions? In Visual Studio, yes, I have permissions. When it runs locally, it passes a connection string with a user ID and password. When it runs in the production space, it doesn't pass a user ID and password. It's running in the context of a managed identity. Look. It's running under this identity. And it's trying to get... I've given up on hiding subscription IDs. I've given up on hiding keys on Azure. I'm putting together a checklist of these features for the Azure Portal team to fix. They've told me that the subscription ID doesn't matter. So it's supposed to be using that assigned identity to connect over to the storage and there it is. It created the security container. It's there, but it's not writing the content. No, OBS Studio can't hide it. It's in the URL. You can see it right there. Even if I hid it in the user interface, it's right there. There's nothing I can do to hide this. Like... So, I see you telling me that you need to pass the client ID. This is supposed to just work. Aspire Azure Storage. Add Azure Blob client, receive the Blob service client, and often do whatever you want. In the app host, add it, add Azure Storage, add blobs with reference. That's it. Hey there, Biddy B Dev. Thank you so much with the Prime subscription. Really appreciate it. Didn't cost you a thing. And we'll make a donation at the end of the month that our friends at Microsoft will match. We'll make a donation from all of the subscriptions, all of the cheers to St. Jude. Yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Thank you so much. Hey, Debug again. Thank you for the follow. When using a connection strings, you can provide the name of the connection string when calling builder add Azure Blob client. I'm not, but okay. Is to use the service URI if no credential is configured. The Azure connection string. So health checks, tracing, client options, diagnostics. And inline delegates, no. I'm not concerned about health checks. Not concerned about observability and telemetry. I should. Logging, okay. Tracing, sure. Metrics, that's it. Like, that's all I need to do. It's not getting there. I appreciate the comment, Archundra. With respect, I'm going to deny because I do try to keep chat safe for work. So, thank you for chiming in, but I do try and keep things clean. That's all. Okay. What microservice are we developing? So I built a thumbnail service. However, I'm caught at a point in time where things change significantly between the Azure Developer Command Line 1.8 and 1.9. They changed the way that security works. I'm also at this, well, I need to get my storage stood up and running and connected. And it's not... It's clearly having an issue with the with getting security passed through. Like if I go through and delete this, right here, I'm in the storage container, browser. What's storage mover? Can I just move over stuff from the other storage? I don't think that's what I want. But when I look in the containers, they're both there. Thumbnails doesn't have anything in it yet. I'm going to delete both of those. Just for a second here. What's the access level? No anonymous access. Right. Okay. Yeah, permanently delete those. Get rid of them Johns. There we go. And if I'm going to close that one. I don't need the live one. Here's the one that I'm trying to deploy. Yes, stop it. When I restart it, it should recreate the security container. Should. Yeah. So I'm restarting it. Let's see what happens. No, it's not key value. The key vault. No, it's not the key vault. Interesting. It didn't create it. Okay. Do I have to grant some sort of permission? There it is. It's activating. And here it is in token acquisition finished successfully. Yeah. And I'm stuck in 3,000 entries of this. Like, I'm not going to be able to find... No. So this begs the question, then. Add blobs with endpoint is external true. So you can access it externally. When I create the no, I don't have an initial state. No. Like, oh, there it is. Wait a sec. What created the thumbnails? Get table name client for the articles. Get the queue client. Is the queue? Does the queue exist? Yeah. So where else is this used? On the website, it initializes and creates all those things. So that's clearly working, but it didn't allocate the security. Well, heck, let's create... Right. That's app host. Yeah, it's all lowercase. So that's clearly running. Let's tell you what, let's just comment this out again. Articles are not directly linked to thumbnails. Try pushing it again. Come on. Oh, this is such a pain in the neck. What frustrates me is that it's different. The behavior is different in the two locations. And that it doesn't clearly connect, and the data protection doesn't feel like it sets up properly. Let's see what we get here. So that Go back up to blob containers. Yeah, it's not there. And this thing's... Dear Lord. Okay, it's still trying to activate. Hang on. Is it? Rebuild. Just to make sure. Because I don't think AZD builds and deploys. Yeah, I did try restarting the service. Yeah. And if we look at over here on storage, really? No. Really? You're gonna just key in stuff for me? Right, the user that's running this. Read, write, and delete. Full access on blob, queue, and table. So the user has access. And clearly, because it created some of those containers. There, now I've got security. Okay. Do that again. And it didn't create the key yet. Well, I didn't tell it to. And site's not responding. And I have no logs. Like, I have no logs that I can work with. No issues. And that would pop up if there was a storage issue. Where was it? This. So... Be nice if it told me the weird key there. $1,500 messages logged, and they're all getting tokens. Client assembly tables. And then we're in this infinite loop of trying to acquire tokens. And nothing in that message. Yeah. Hello? Right. What's trying to access it publicly? I'm trying to do as minimal amount of recreation here or customization. I'm trying to use the defaults that ship, and it feels like this isn't... There, it's doing a request. Why is it doing a request from the queue? There were 1,568. It logged 400 more messages. And it's trying to get the identity token. No. 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 It doesn't need access to the resource group. It has access to the storage. Is a port exposed on the container it's running? So others, yes, it's not running in a container. It's in production. It's running a storage service. So here's it's running a storage account. It's running the native Azure service. It's not running inside a container. And it is clearly open because it went and did create the containers. But when it goes to get its access token to interact with it, it's failing. Let's knock down the resource group and let it rebuild it. That's all I can think of. Knock it down, let it rebuild it. And put this back in here. Make sure that rebuilds the whole thing. Yes, delete the whole resource group. And we'll deploy a new resource group. Yeah, I'm at a loss. So that's trying to knock this down. Yeah, the container apps environment's the last one to go. It's effectively destroying a Kubernetes cluster. So let's see what happens with that. Yeah, I'm stuck. So I can't maintain my existing application. I can't deploy a new. Because they changed the structure of it and the way that things are configured. Like, I don't have confidence to deploy directly over what's already out there. So, I mean, it's an alpha version of the tools that I'm trying to work with here. So yeah, I'm a little sketch at trying to get it deployed. So one second here. Turn this off, I was told to try. Let me rebuild. Rebuilding. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so that's done. Head back over here and this. Yeah, it's still knocking that down. All right, it's provisioning. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, the resource group is still here. So I'm going to need to rebuild it. Let's see here. Have a good one, Robson. Yeah, we're... I'm okay, that's off screen. I'm okay with that. I think I need to do AZD init again and nuke and rebuild the configuration. Any firewall or network restrictions? No. 3625216. How did you get my luggage combination? Hey there, welcome. Hey Brady. I'm knocking down the existing the resource group that I was trying to deploy, and of course I'm stuck with the container apps environment taking forever to clean up here. So I think I need to re-AZD init so I get a new resource group name and a new environment name that I can deploy to. Dude, nothing has been not weird about getting this running. Here's the steps that I'm trying to go through right here. Make the site work. And then I've got to migrate all the storage, my images, my articles from the existing website to the new website, make sure GitHub deploys, and then migrate the domain name. And we've been going for an hour and a half and can't get anything working. So let's knock this down. Let's knock this down. And then we're going to need to go get rid of our bicep files. Yeah. So migrate the domain name also means we need to insert the domain name into our bicep config. Otherwise, every time we update, it'll knock down the domain name as well. Can I set this chat log mode? I don't know what chat log mode means. 4? Is that kind of a thing? I don't know what it did. Outline? No. I thought I said 4, and even then... Does it... Is it scrolling? I don't think it's scrolling. AZD should do the SP for me, the service principal. Hey, Zalmus. I'm starting over. I'm starting over, starting from scratch. I've purposely isolated. I'm in my own, and get rid of Next Steps MD. I'm in a separate branch here, so I can knock things down and feel comfortable starting things from scratch here. So let's do AZD init. Use the code in the current directory. And my app host. So, right, we discovered, we learned that Azure Storage does not behave the same locally as it does on Azure. So, even though I've added these features, when it runs locally, since I'm using the emulator locally, it passes a full connection string. When I go over to my services, it passes just a URI for those services, just an endpoint. So there's some magic going on underneath these. Am I running the Yes. And spoiler alert, don't try and get AZD from Winget. Don't get AZD from Winget. It throws a file not found when it tries to get it. I installed it from Chocolatey. Last night I was going for 2 or 3 hours trying to get the latest version of AZD, and it did not work at all. Yeah, I'm a good 6-8 hours into trying to get this thing deployed, and the frustration is strong with this one. Yeah, it just disappeared. AZD did. The chat log thing here isn't doing what I thought it was going to, so I'm just going to do that. And I'll delete rows as we get to them. Yes, confirm and continue initializing. It is .NET Aspire. Thank you. Aspirify v3. Okay. So now let's AZD up. No. AZD infrasynth. Because I need to eventually copy in my domain name, because you can't specify domain name resources inside your Aspire configuration. Yeah, I know it's in alpha. All right. Now AZD up. New terminal in AZD version? Sure. 190. I'm going to put it on this subscription. East US 2, because we like East US. So this is my connection string. I tried all kinds of capitalization combinations, and there was last night. There was a time that it would not work at all. So, give me a second here. Azure Cache, because I wanted to use this cache. Authentication. I know that it properly hides these connection strings. You must get these connection strings right the first time. There is no going back right now and changing configuration. You reinstalled it yesterday? Yeah. Yeah. All right, resource group is out there, and we can follow it deploying. And deploying. Okay. So, what's the details? That tells me nothing, and it probably gave away too much information. That's handy. Nope, that doesn't tell me either. So how do I get to that? I don't know. What's G slash? No, that doesn't do a thing there. Yeah, what's G slash? It's not control slash. It's not alt slash. It's not shift slash. What is G slash? Windows slash? No. What is that hotkey it's trying to explain there? What's G slash? I've never heard of G slash. I don't know. And I'd like to think I'm not a moron. Installer scripts. Oh. Yeah, I did the Choco install there. Yeah. There you go. So stuff's being delivered and running out there. It's busted too. Okay. Get the daily version of AZD. Well, there's my storage account. Okay. I'm going to want dailies. Okay. So let me copy that. So I'll save that into here. That's going to be a .ps1 install azd ps1. Okay. I don't think that did anything. Yep, do it. I have no idea what that just did. Wow. No. Okay. I know I'm a moron. Okay. There we go. And it's probably going to choke. So, okay, it says it deployed and everything is out there. So there's my new web. Okay. No revisions with issues. Let's look at the containers. Show me the details. It says it's still activating. View the logs. Yeah. 392 messages, and it can't get its identity. Trying to get to tables. And if we look at the storage that it allocated, see if it created the containers and what's the actual error? Can't find it. I've got hundreds of messages there. How do I find it? It created the queue. It created the blob containers. Did not allocate the data protection keys. The log stream is worthless. The log stream it does not respond. Nothing comes up when you look at the log stream. Look where log S contains exception. Stand by. Unable to retrieve access token. Yeah. Right, and that was as of, 3 minutes ago. So, it's so secure, it won't even log in itself. I did just install that daily. Let's try it again. Yes, that's right. Public access isn't allowed, but it went and created all the containers. It does have access. It created the containers and the queues. Look. Here's the storage that it allocated. It created the queue. It even created the tables. And it created the security container that I asked it to in order to add data protection. I told it to go get a blob client and return that blob client for use to persist the blob storage. Yeah. Like, right, do we... No. Right, I don't need to upload something. Like, I just need to return. Here it is, this is the thing. I don't need to set an access tier, do I? Like, nobody does this anywhere. Nah, it's not site-to-site connection. Like, open right, true. Keys dot. I forget what it is to start uploading content. No. Right, I would normally, yeah, upload. I want to upload a stream of content. Give me something. I can't close. So it uploaded. Can we say keys dot? Is, if it doesn't exist, go write some trash in it. But this, I don't need to do this, and it works locally. Yeah, I did. Yep. Yep, this is a brand new location. This is brand new. It just built this stuff. And if I run locally, well, no, it's not networking. Just run that. Okay, so that says it just updated. But here I am in security, and it didn't allocate anything. So I'm going to guess. Hey, Alu!
For 15 months, 15 whole months.
Oh my gosh, at tier 2. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, there's a number of folks that have been trying to get Minecraft running in C#. That is a touchy topic. Back to the logs over here. No, those logs. What? No. I clicked close. This one. That's a new container. It doesn't exist. So this one, AWG. I can't just flip back to the logs. Replace that. Last 30 minutes. Go. $35 exceptions. Unable to retrieve an access token. 99 exceptions. I'm not sure why it thinks it's trying to get public access because I've only passed. I've passed the reference in. Okay. Yeah. I was trying to do this. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's like a... No, I don't have an... it did set up. It did set up off... check access. Back here on this web. Delete this one. This should be gone now. That should go away now. Okay. This doesn't exist. Okay. That's my cache. That's the old website. Checking access. Here's where I just deployed v3. Identity. There's the identity it's running as. Back over here to storage. Checking access. There's the identity name. There it is. Full read-write access. So it's deploying. Everybody has read-write access. Why can't I just use a key? No, log does not show that. I'm going to, for the sake of trying to make this a little reproducible, I'm going to add everything here. Attempting to deploy. You have a deploy branch out there you can take a look at. What toggle button? This thing? Yes, please. So, into here. $113 messages. Container image. I'm trying to find like a top. Is there a... No. And it is just hammering it. Like, why is it showing me the thumbnail service? But the thumbnail service can't get it either. Yeah, I did turn off resiliency in service defaults. So, yeah. All right. Okay. The service is running under the principle it should be. But it's not creating and getting connected using those. It's trying to get that credential and it's not. Can I swing a sledgehammer at this? Look at the service principles roles? Sure. Let's take a look. So here's the identity. Here's the identity right here. ACR pull and the ability to work with that storage account. Interestingly, it doesn't have any roles on There's nothing for the container. That it has the right to run the container. That's what it should have? Okay. Associated resources, there's the two that it's running, the thumbnail service and the web. Head over to that thing for a second. So that says it's running properly. Yeah. But it's not. It's throwing errors trying to get to... trying to get to storage. Yeah, and this is nothing. The log streams have not worked for me in the past 2 days. So... oh, there we go. The console streams weren't working. That's able to read from the queue. Yeah, that's reaching out and reading from the queue, no problem. And it's running under that identity. That was 15 minutes ago. Tell me what happened. Yeah. Each app should have its own identity in production. Yeah. Nothing there. That's just pulling and trying to get it running, but not getting any details in there, so... Azure request failed exception. Public access not permitted. But I'm not using public access. I'm using the blob service client that was created for me. No, I'm not. Fowler just reached out and said, hey, do you need a hand? Do I still have the data volume turned on? In app host. Let's head back over there. I mean, it's on... It's in the run as emulator. So... no. If you'd like, I can add you to the voice. I can add your voice onto this. Yeah. But this looks like it's running and accessing those things properly based on what we're seeing in the console logs. Somewhere it thinks it's getting public access. How do I get that entire stack trace? Like, let's just save you for later. What was I looking at? No. Ugh. Where? What the heck? Where revision name equals no web awg 565. Is that an L? I guess it's an L. And time generated greater than, oh boy. I'm gonna have to do this. Double equals? All right, double equals. Where the heck did my cursor go? 05, 09, 257, 31. Start there. And why doesn't it like that? Do I have to do like new date time like that? No. Whatever. I'm done futzing and trying to figure this out. Use the ago function. Container already exists. Yeah, that's why I did a create exists. Can I find where log s contains? I forget how to do and. Hey, Juan Van. log s starts with public access not permitted. It thinks it's accessing, and that was as of 4 minutes ago. But I'm trying to get like the stack trace that goes with that. And you were saying ago, and it wants a time span. Can I say 10 minutes? It's what's the conflict that it's on? That's Azure Tables. So it's trying to access. I'm not getting. I was getting errors reported before that showed me different lines. Is it worth a test to enable anonymous access? But this is a misnomer because I get the exact same. I'm going to turn off my deploy steps because we're nowhere near there yet. Because I have the exact same configuration in the other container and it worked. Like it went and allocated all the things. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Just got some awesome news on Discord. I can't share it. But pretty cool news to hear. 55 to 64 in program CS. In web. This one. Yeah, you want me to turn off data protection? Yeah, we tried this a little bit earlier and it didn't work either, but no problem. Let's hit it. Let's get nuts. So, sure. Not a problem. Yeah, right, we've moved things over and we've deployed a new resource group since. So, not a problem to try it in this resource group. Maybe there was something misconfigured. The only data protection, yeah, that's the only one. So, the thumbnail service doesn't have any of that. It's just add these clients. And the worker gets a table client right off the bat and creates a table if it doesn't exist, and away it goes. How's it going there, Nutty? Welcome. Yeah. I will dial you in. So this is going to be coming over Teams. I'll dial back the music. Maybe he's not going to answer. Hang on. We've got a couple things here folks want to look at. Deploying the web. Somebody asked about looking at the... There we go. The storage, the networking.
Brady Gaster is...
Yes, I know. The networking. There we go. I know that guy. There it is.
Oh boy.
Somebody was asking
Hey.
if we can look at the networking blade of storage over here. Sure, let's take a peek. Public network enabled from all networks. Network routing, Microsoft network routing, blah, blah, blah. So it's
Seems okay.
accessible. Teams PTSD, right? No. So, yeah, no, it's not coming from the storage account. We think
Yeah, we can go
it's
change that.
pretty clear that it's coming in from, and if we look at storage browser, right, blob containers, right, this should have nothing in it because we just commented out and told it don't deploy and use data protection. I'll go back to the managed identity, over to the web, and no revisions with issues. Try and go to the website, and it should come back with an error basically showing I couldn't get any data from the Azure storage table because there's nothing there yet. We didn't upload the articles yet, but we're getting no response there. Heading back over to logs. Final Stack, thank you for the resub.
Final Stack.
You can take out the rare revision name if that'll make your life easier.
Oh my gosh, yes. But let's do where what was the previous?
Just do the ago. Time generated.
Do what? Log S starts.
Type time generated. Where time generated. Oh, that's it. You can do that. Contains.
Yeah. I was going to do where log S contains exception.
Okay.
And time generated greater than or equal to ago, 5 minutes. And taking a look at that, John. Unhandled exception. Public access not allowed. So, yeah, it's a user-assigned managed identity that the AZD tool and Aspire are setting up so that we do have managed identity, there's no passwords, and it automatically logs in. So, I appreciate the troubleshooting folks in chat are doing along the way here.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, this feels, and yeah, I'm kind of stuck here because it can't get an access token.
Pardon the lag. Could you scroll to the left and let me see your time generated from top to bottom?
Sure. So that is UTC 312. That's 3 minutes ago.
So that looks like you've got the okay.
Right. So this is the revision that I believe we just deployed. AWG 565L. Right? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a minute or two lag with it showing up there, but usually
it's public access not permitted. Yeah. So the new revision is starting to appear here. The revision name: Echo Bravo Victor Gamma Bravo November Zulu, and it's unable to retrieve access tokens. So
that's so weird.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm definitely flummoxed here. I'm going to try to deploy it today.
Okay.
To both my personal sub and the team sub, and kind of experiment with it and see what kind of stuff I can run into.
Okay.
Fowler's looking at it right now. I sent him a bunch of your app host code in Teams. I don't know if you sent him the repo or not yet.
No, I didn't invite him to the repo.
I don't see what's going wrong. My one concern was that
I don't mind
Okay,
inviting him to
do
the
that,
repo.
please. The one thing I was concerned about is that you weren't. That's cool. Was your AZT infra sent step just making sure that you deleted everything? But it
Yeah.
seems like you were.
So. Yep. Cleared that out. And can I ask you what? Even though I have you on stream, I'll remind you. Is there any options coming to allow us to be able to specify and inject things like, hey, configure this domain name, or hey, here's a little bit of extra bicep code that I want you to inject?
That's a great question, and I was actually asking Fowler that as I was watching you. There are a few things that we've added. Like I think I've told you how we're collaborating with the Azure SDK team, and some of their CDK stuff is going to start to surface in the app host program CS, so you'll have more capability to like customize your Azure resources.
Awesome.
We're starting to see some of those compute affectations appear in the SDK.
Okay.
I did ask him specifically, are we going to enable the domain stuff? And he goes, yeah, eventually we'll get to it. Probably not in time for GA.
Sure.
But we'll definitely get to it. Now, what I want to try to do is to look at your code. And I've got a couple of sites like Rock, Paper, Orleans I've got domains for. So what I want to try to do is figure out how to use kind of that sidecar bicep resource approach.
Yeah.
So that we can suck in the bicep during deployment. What I don't know is if we can actually impact the compute layer with that bicep versus just other, services.
Okay.
I'll do some research today to figure that out, and I'll do some experimentation with RPO because I've actually got it rebuilt.
Okay.
But I'll try that out this week and see if I can't come up with something for you. But that's coming. I don't know how long it'll take, but that's coming. You should probably file an issue in our repo.
Will
just
do.
To make sure that custom domaining is one of the first things we tackle. That'd be good. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So just for folks watching that might not be familiar with what you're describing, we know that when Aspire runs and builds, it generates a manifest, a collection that describes here's the things that are a part of this. When you want to deploy to Azure or AWS or Kubernetes, AZD in our case generates that configuration file for here's what to build and deploy to Azure. Bicep is the language of that configuration file we use to deploy to Azure. Did I explain that well?
Right. And our open source friends wrote And our open source friends wrote a tool called Aspirate. And
That's
Aspirate looks at that same Aspire manifest and generates Kubernetes YAML for it.
Yeah.
So if you're just going to, I won't say just, if you're going to Kubernetes instead of ACA, you would use Aspirate to generate Kubernetes YAML instead of Bicep. If you're going to Amazon, they'll probably have a thing too. I think they've already started.
They've already worked on.
They would generate like CloudFormation. So.
Yep, and it uses their CDK to deploy and all that stuff. So, all right.
Yep.
I'm gonna park this then for right now as far as thinking about deploy. The next feature that I wanted to work on here today, and I've probably got about an hour and a half to continue working. I was going to add authentication, but authentication using OIDC only, OpenID Connect, and no registration. But I'm going to generate. I'm going to generate invite codes instead. So the only way that you can register is if you have an invite code. So I will start on that feature in a development branch. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and Fowler taking a look at this. That's a huge lift. And drop in the voice. There you go. So, all right. So this isn't me. I was very concerned that, what did I do? Am I not configuring something right? Am I misunderstanding something? I realize and I appreciate that I'm in a little bit of a privileged position here that I can call on some of the folks on the team to get some help. And it is part of the state of the monster, as Brady's saying there, the state of growth that we're going through. This is all preview right now. And the fact that everything looks like it's configured properly just isn't connecting properly. It's pretty darn close. So there was a little bit of regression All right, I get it. I appreciate it. And I'm thankful that the team took my call and they're taking a look at it. So, oh, that's great. They're looking to onboard .NET Aspire to support so that people can call in and get support on it. Hey, Fowler. It is. The errors that we're getting, I'll zoom in a bit here so you can see. So the website is trying to get an access token to be able to access Azure Storage. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll throw a VIP tag on our friend David there, so that you know it's the real David. But it's throwing a message here that it's unable to retrieve access tokens to be able to work with Azure Storage. Here's the part where we're confused. Are you ready for this? Inside my code, I have those commands, right? For queues and blobs and tables, create if not exists. And you can see it created my containers, it created my queue, and it created the 2 tables that I allocated. So it's saying it's saying in some places that it's trying to access public using a public token. However, it clearly was able to create and work with it. So I'm not. This is where we're kind of stumped in looking at this, and the website is not responding. When we navigate to the website, it should error out right now because there are no articles in my articles table at this point. It's empty. So it should error out and say, "Oh, no articles found, no content found." I expect that. I don't have an error exception. Yeah. The app, right? We're not getting to the app yet. There's no entries in the log stream for the app, for the container running yet. We're getting to just trying to pass along the token, and it's not. I'm not sure if this is an Azure thing or if this is me. That the domain name is what I'm tweaking in the YAML. I haven't done it yet. I'm just trying to get the website up at this point. Yep, domain name is the only thing that I'm going to be tweaking in the configuration. Nothing else. Nope. So, yeah, I'd love to be able to put into app host, right? So here's my website, right? I'd love to be able to put deploy with domain name foo.com or with right custom domain name. So I did send you a GitHub invite so you can look at and so you can see the repository and where my mess is configured here. So should I continue with here in debug, or do you fellas want to step aside and take a look at that? Is there anything more that you need me to find in Azure to show you? Otherwise, like, I can run here locally, and I can connect out to my production table and work. You want to see one thing? Sure, what do you got? You want to talk? I can bring you on Teams on a Teams call, and I can get you on voice. All right. We're bringing in David Fowler to help out. Hello.
Hey.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's live.
Wait.
Perfect.
Hang on. Okay.
So one thing I want to suggest is if you...
There we go. You should be able to hear me better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so show me the error again. You're saying it says you don't have public access?
So I have unable to retrieve an access token, and there are some places down here. Here we go. Azure request failed. Public access is not permitted on this storage account.
So go to the storage account resource.
Here's the storage account.
And pull up, like, go to the main UI, not this deep, like all the way up to the
Yep, up to the overview.
This resource. Yeah, overview. And then hit JSON view.
Mm-hmm. What do we got? I'm going to move this over. Is there something
There's a public access, like... Yeah, I see. So network echoes, bypass, blah. Allow blob public access is false, which I think is what we do by default.
So,
but it should be fine because you are in. You have a normal app running in ACA. I hope this didn't change like halfway through our release. Like this could be a bug.
So there's two containers that I'm trying to allocate. One for maintaining my security keys for data protection.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to allocate another one where I'm going to store thumbnails from the various articles that we're indexing.
Yep.
The thumbnails, I created that container and I want to set up public access, public read access on that. But that the domain name mapping was just weird, so I left it turned off. I just fetch it with a minimal API.
Yeah. So it seems like the failure in general is your compute is trying to access blobs, right?
Yes.
And for some reason, it's saying you need public access to do the operation you're doing.
When it clearly has write access and it created containers.
Yeah. This feels like a specific RBAC problem. I don't know exactly what the problem is thus far, but that error says public access is not on, and for some reason you need public access. I'm not sure why you need public access to access blobs from the container app. That seems like what it's saying, right? So try changing it here and see if that makes it work, just as a way to debug the problem.
Just to...
Don't ask me how. I have no idea
how. Where is it? So
it
there's
would be something top level. I mean, and if you can't change it, then I guess we could attempt to change it in the code.
Open and explore tags.
Yeah, it's not obvious where it is.
Anonymous access disabled.
Yeah, it would be in one of these things, like
allow blob anonymous access. Yes. Sure. I know they'll become anonymous.
Is it anonymous or is it like public? Hold on.
Well, yeah, it says allow blob anonymous access.
Hold on. Okay. Scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more stuff that looks like accessy stuff?
Default to Entra authorization in the Azure portal.
Keep scrolling.
The Azure portal authorizes. Yeah, that's it. Well, I just turned it on. the defaults.
Okay, so this is interesting. So I think so let me check one thing.
Brady's pointing out that his app has I already turned it on. There's nothing in there, so I don't care. I did.
Did you save it?
There's a
That
save.
change? No, not here. I mean in the portal. The change you
Yes,
just made.
yes, to allow blob anonymous access. I did save.
Pull up the overview and see if it took effect in the ARM JSON. See if it like.
Allow blob public access. True, it's there.
Okay, try it now.
So back over to the web. It's not loading. 331. So that's still throwing an error. Unhandled exception. Specified resource.
I think you have to restart the container.
Fair. Okay. I can do that. Yep. Stop the container app.
So let me see something though. I'm pretty sure we made this change super late.
So I was just looking in my app host and see if there was something that I had that marked it as private, but I don't.
It's our default, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty
All right.
sure.
Web stopped, so I'm restarting. Here we go. Coffee Drinker in chat says you can allow public access, but then on the blob table level, still put it on private. Yes. I think what David's explaining here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it should be public to the rest of Azure, but private to the outside.
But I think there's an issue where ACA, Azure Container Apps, isn't considered. There's a comment in our code that says, unfortunately, Azure Storage does not list ACA as one of the resource types where the firewall policy works. So I think there's some wonkiness happening. There was a late change made to make this a bit more secure by default. I think maybe.
So this says it's activating.
Where's the history?
So here's the info that we keep seeing. It's just hammering trying to get the token.
That's normal.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
And acquire token, region configured, and I'm in on 4,000 messages in just the last minute or two. Yeah. Just trying to get that token and
the issue with this view of logs, by the way, this is like the most painful you look at because every entry is a line in the console output. That's why it's so verbose.
Yeah. It's nice that it's
this verbose. If you want a more
verbose,
readable
but
view, you can look at the console logs itself, not this view.
I tried looking at the console logs, and there's nothing there.
Should be.
So
pull up the logs for the specific resource, and then go to log stream.
Yep. Doesn't get there.
Change the replica. Like this one looks like it's a bad one.
There's no other one.
There's nothing.
Nope, no other one.
Is it running?
Says it is.
Click on system. No, in that same log view.
Yeah.
If like it didn't start up, right? It failed at the very bottom there.
It failed several times.
The cloud.
Trying to start. So I've got green checks on the replica and the container, but nothing. Hey, Becky. Hello. I'll throw a VIP on Becky as well.
It's working now. Is it?
Well,
Is it green now?
I've got a green check.
Green's better than nothing.
Right? Nothing. Website's not responding. Is there like a debug mode that I can deploy and turn on so I can get all?
You would have to change the log levels or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question from Johan BR. Yeah, you said the start button is visible.
This is the
This is weird.
stuck scenario that I'm in.
This looks like buggy ACA, to be honest. Like, this is kind of. Is the app working yet?
No,
Still broken?
no, nothing responding up here.
Okay, can you do something for me in locally in your source? Can you run AZD in % so we can see the bicep?
I've already generated it. I have it here on disk.
Oh, hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And
Okay.
I was talking to Brady about this because I have a custom domain name up there. I need to, if I don't put
tweak it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will open up VS Code here so we can take a look at the bicep. Actually, I can go you one further, David. It's in the GitHub repository committed in the deploy branch that I invited you to join.
You want to help your live stream people see it, right?
Yeah, folks are watching.
So pull up the in the main bicep, there should be a reference to the storage resource at the very bottom. You don't have the bicep plugin. Install it.
I'm not a. There
What?
are
I mean,
things that
I was never.
there are things that I don't want to know.
That's smart.
So sure, it's installing bicep now.
I think of it like debugging assembly.
I
Or IL. It's like looking at IL spike.
No, I think of this as debugging a CI/CD script.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's less bad. I will say, like, looking at it is less bad than.
Okay, there we go. So I'm in my. That's EZD deploy. You want me to go into the main. Main
pull up
bicep.
main bicep.
Yeah.
And I guess for those on the line, can people hear me?
Yeah.
Or am I like super low?
They can hear
the
you.
main bicep is kind of what we spit out from what AZD spits out from reading our manifest, and it turns it into this essentially.
Gotcha.
So this is a storage reference.
Yep.
If you look in the storage folder,
yes, sir.
it has that bicep file, that module. Click on that thing.
Storage module. Yep, got it open.
So you can see all the properties here, right? Network ACLs, default action allow, all this stuff. And you can see there's no public access turned on here. It just says like access tier is hot. I have no idea what that means, by the way. Network ACLs, default action allow.
Right, the cold storage limits how frequently you can access it, and you get a cheaper price on it.
Got it. Cheaper.
Oh, dude.
That sounds good.
So
by default, our default configuration for storage is this. Like, this is what you get. Right?
So wait, that's global redundant storage. That's the more expensive one.
Is it?
Oh gosh, yes.
Should we do LRS? What was it? L something else.
Azure storage pricing. Like, one of the topics that comes up frequently on my streams, and so that you know, is how much do these things cost? So we had a question a little bit ago. Hey, that's great. You're storing your secrets in a key vault. How much does it cost to read the data from the key vault? And the answer is 3 cents every 10,000 requests.
Okay.
In the last 10 minutes, we've requested that token 4,000 times from Key Vault.
Yeah.
So where is it? That's hierarchical namespace. Yeah, LRS is the cheaper one. So L. Because I'm cheap, damn it.
Well, so here's the deal. You wouldn't change it there.
Oh no.
You do, because right now you're kind of in this hybrid ampersand like broken mode.
Yeah.
And you're adding domain names. But I think it would be good to show people on the stream a more advanced feature.
Okay.
Of Aspire. So go into your code,
Yeah. Go back over to
to your C sharp,
and in the app host.
in the post, yeah.
Okay.
So in the call to add Azure storage, there's
Yeah.
an overload that takes in a callback.
Not just the name, but a resource
name
builder.
So this is a little wonky. These overloads are marked preview because they're going to change, but it's worth showing it. So it takes 3 arguments.
Okay.
So I would just put an underscore for the first 2 arguments. Discard the first value for the. So make a lambda for the first 2 arguments. Yeah, exactly. Yep. 2 discards, and then the last one is the storage account.
Ah, there it is. Okay.
So
Do something like that. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So now, so to explain to people what this is the brand new Azure provisioning library. This actually comes from the Azure SDK.
Okay.
And this lets you essentially modify bicep in C#.
Oh.
So the thing you would want to do instead of doing the manual code you just wrote, you would say assign property.
And it was.
So this is where the APIs are still very new.
Okay.
So I will watch you attempt to do this, and then I will tell you how to do it.
Okay. So I'm going to roll this back to the default here. So I'm thinking it's down. I'm trying to assign a property, but it's not in properties. It's a SKU. Right. So I would think it's going to be something like SKU name. And I'm using double underscore because that's the way we do .NET hierarchical separation. It's either going to be underscore or colon to separate those is what I would guess. And then I would do, instead of standard GRS, standard LRS. And that's what I would guess that is.
Okay. Close, but not right. It's a little more strongly typed than this.
Okay.
So one of the benefits of having the Azure SDK team on these APIs is they will read all the schema from Azure, and they will code spit types for the entire thing.
I'm seeing this storage account access tier type here.
Yeah. So the first argument is a lambda.
It is?
Yeah. So
geez.
A goes to.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
SKU, I think it's called. Is it SKU or properties dot?
Yep, SKU is there. A SKU name.
Is there a properties object or is it the SKU? I don't even know which one it is. By the way.
Yeah, it's SKU directly.
And I'll check the code just to make sure that it's right because.
And the name is
APIs are still new.
And the name is a storage SKU name. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so much easier. Storage, spell it right. Storage SKU name. That's it. Oh, it's an enum. So much better.
Enum.
Yes, it is.
It's a struct with a bunch of types.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Now, it's telling me it wants that as a provisioning parameter.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Let's see.
So, new parameter and an output. What's an output on that?
It's wonky, right? Okay, so these APIs are just so everyone knows, super brand new.
Yeah. So
I think if you want this to work, you wouldn't go the parameter route.
But
I think.
Yeah, it wants an Azure provisioning parameter or a string property value.
Right. So I think you want to use the string. So maybe
so like that. No.
That seems wrong, right?
Yeah.
So don't set the SKU name. Try setting the SKU itself, like a.sku.
Okay. And it wants.
Try a.properties.
Yeah,
There's some weirdness here that I don't recall where we landed, but I'll try on my own, see if I get it.
The left looks correct. It's the value I'm getting a red underline on. It wants either a parameter or a property value as a
You can pass in
string.
a string. Strings work, but
So what, do a name of on this? No, it doesn't like that either.
yeah, you're right. Skew is right. So skew is a storage queue. And the storage queue, I don't know if does name work there?
There's a storage skew name.
His name even a string? What is name? Oh, name is storage queue name. I had the same problem.
Yeah. And then
We're close though. We're close.
is this like a value? No. Standard LRS is a storage skew name
Oh, I see the problem.
instead of a string.
They don't support that overload. That's why it doesn't work here.
Let's do an F12
So
into
you,
it.
so
Look
you
at
basically you basically have to make it a string. I see.
that. It's a new storage skew name of that. So if I toString on this, what do I get back?
I think that would work, but so I think you need something like horrible like this.
No, toString will return the value that it stored.
Try it.
Yeah. I just did the decompile to look at it.
Yeah, these APIs are not great yet.
Okay, I'm getting a red underline now under the whole thing. Builder is not null.
Yep. No, that's fine. This is because the APIs are experimental and you have to
Oh.
opt into using them. This is the warning label.
Okay, how do I opt in?
Control dot.
Oh, are you kidding me? Suppressor configure issue.
Yeah, there you go. And you can do it like globally or do it in this file or whatever you want to do it.
I'll do it just there. Okay, so that's cool. It assigns the storage skew name. Nice.
And well, one thing I would do is I would run in %, again to see if it worked.
Okay.
And it's gonna blast away your changes. So just so you know that.
I haven't made any changes yet. So
Good. Don't make any changes yet.
AZD infra synth. Because the only reason I'm doing infrasynth is so that I can load the custom domain name when I'm ready for it.
Yep.
And so there is another environment that I have running that is running the live site that has the domain name over there. So I'm effectively going to do an A/B conversion. All right, so it says it overrode. Back into VS Code. Didn't put the quotes around standard LRS like it should have.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is one of the reasons this API is still an experiment.
It's not
They're working
quite
through
ready.
They're working through. Yeah, it's not quite ready yet. So I would just hard code the string in quotes.
Single quotes, double quotes. It looks like single quotes in a lot of places here.
Yeah, single quotes.
Okay. In chat, Blazer Mr. Magoo asks, is Mr. Fowler available as a pair programmer when we GA? No.
If you come in Discord, you might get some.
You hang out in the C# is it Evolution?
In both of them, yeah, Evolution and C# one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So go,
but
pull the code and just hard code this string standard LRS with single quotes inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I updated that.
You got it working?
Well, yeah, I've got it in the storage module bicep, but yeah, where else should I deploy that now? I mean,
No. So did you do it? Did you fix it in the C#? I missed that part. You did?
I didn't change anything over here. I did.
So change that code in C# to be the actual hard-coded string with quotes, so you don't have to make it. Like, you should basically never have to change the bicep. If you did, then there's some kind of issue, right? That's the ideal, but we aren't there yet. So
okay, it's hard coded like that.
But you need the single quotes as well.
Oh, put double quotes with single quotes inside of it.
Yes, you do.
Fancy. Rerun the infrasynth. Right, I saved that. Okay.
And this is a great way to learn bicep, by the way.
And looks like it generated it properly.
Nice.
I'll replace this with something else just to make sure. right? Yeah, I saved that. Overwrite it. Yeah, it replaced it properly. Okay, cool. Does that mean I can force the domain name from here also?
You can't. So that's the one thing we don't have support for yet. You cannot customize the compute.
Okay, the web instance.
Right.
Okay.
So one thing you can play around with is you can try to set the public access tier from that callback. You can set the SKU, you can set all the storage properties. You should be able to turn on whatever thing you set in the
But the public access tier wasn't
the thing that fixed it.
Didn't get us out yet.
Yeah, I know. So that part. So I still don't know why that thing is failing. It might make sense to build a super simple app that uses storage and seeing if that has the same behavior, to see if it's like a default that we set.
I can do that quickly. So we're going off the rails, chat.
Do you have an app with storage?
Do I have a what?
An app that has storage.
Yes.
I could. Oh, you do. Okay.
So this app that you're looking at, go to the main branch, and it has the old style bicep generated that does use storage.
Oh, perfect. Go look at that then and see if it if there's anything weird.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I'm going to commit these changes we just did. Adding bicep config. All right, and I'll push that change so you can see it. Jump back over to my main branch. And so this is the old style bicep that it will not deploy. And
this is hold on. Did this work before?
This worked up until Tuesday.
What do you mean it worked?
If you look at the actions on that repository, as of 3 days ago, it worked. I mean,
in Azure?
GitHub Action deployment.
No, but it was working in Azure after deployed.
Website is still working. The deployment Azure rejects it, saying you don't have access to these things.
And that worked at some point?
It worked up until Tuesday. AZD 190 broke it.
So you think an AZD change broke it?
I can show you it broke it.
Okay.
So if you right, I'll drop into Teams here the link to the actions. So 3 days ago, I added another page into the website. It built, it deployed. On Tuesday, there was a link missing in the footer. All right, well, let's go update that HTML, and build failed. And you can see in here when it's provisioning the architecture, the infrastructure, authorization failed. You do not, your access did not, does not have access to this.
I'm reading it, so does not have permission to write.
So this feels like the other side of the issue that we're looking at right now, where this is in my production space where aspirify.net is running.
Yep.
That the permission, the service principal here, 12 Echo 9er, has full permissions to the resource group, but is not allowed to read or write to anything. So this is the running website out there right now, and this is why I need to redeploy. And so here's the managed identity, and where is it?
Azure role assignments on the left. So pull up that same view again.
I'm sorry, I bounced
No.
around a bit.
Yeah, go back to the page you were on before.
The identity page.
Yeah.
And the user and the managed identity.
User, and then on the left of that should be playing the Azure role assignments.
So it has full access to everything, and it's running properly, interacting with, reading, and working with that data.
I'm surprised provisioning failed though. Like if provisioning failed, I mean something was trying to.
I'm sorry,
access.
it's not. Hang on. I created a service principal for the purpose of deploying. Okay.
You made and that was supposed to get access to storage for what?
So if I go up to the resource group, hang on, this is the production, different problem. Okay. So here on the resource group, okay. Role assignments. Come on, load. Here's the service principal that I created. 12 Echo Niner. Okay. And I'll bring it back up. This has owner access on the resource group. That is the production deployment, right? So and make sure I'm understanding this right, and correct me, please, David. So I have a service principal that runs the actual application. That's the managed identity that's created during the AZD up process. To have GitHub Actions be able to deploy the stack, I created a second principal that has the ability to do the provisioning. This account is configured in my GitHub Action so that it has access to be able to write and deploy and do those things. Is that right? That's kind of how we expect and want this to run, right? Uh-oh. I've put David on mute. He's on mute.
Oops. Yeah.
Okay.
That provisioning error during AZD provision.
Yeah.
Is strange because I'm trying to figure out what that service principal would need access to from storage.
Well, it's so.
Why is that failing?
Right. And I went through and I checked for this resource group. I went through to the storage account over here and did the access control over here. Hey, check the assignments. What does this person have? And when I look, they have contributor and owner access. So they should have it. Is there a Discord group for me? Asks Frostturn. Yes, if you go to discord.csharpfritz.com. You can chat, you can ask questions if you don't want to be in the full big .NET one. You want to talk to a smaller group. So
I don't know exactly what's wrong, but I think grabbing that error from your CI/CD script, sending it to me, that's a clue, I think, as to what might be going on. As for why you can't get your app working at runtime, they seem related, but they may not be.
Okay. Thank you so much for dropping in. I'm going to pivot then, and go after a different feature here. Work in development mode, and I'll park this while Brady and some folks are taking a look. The next feature I was going to add was authorization and authentication. Hey, log in with your Microsoft account, and you can only register to log in with your Microsoft account if you have an invite code. So, cool. Thanks,
Jeff.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you taking some time for us. All right. I will let David go, and I'm going to jump out of that call. Did I? No, Brady's already a V. So I made Becky, and I made David VIPs in the channel. So when they show up, when folks from the Aspire team there show up, you'll know it's really them because they'll have the little diamond next to their name. Yeah, you can see right there on Brady's chat messages there, he's got a little diamond on it. So, yep, there's the Discord GG C# for them. Frost Turn, I'm going to head over to the full screen chat here. Does Microsoft's Edge WebView 2 that was installed around 4 to 6 days ago on all devices, blah, blah, does it affect C# developers a lot? No, it shouldn't. So WebView 2, that update is an update from Edge. That should work just fine and be a normal update there. Thank you so much, Becky, Brady, and certainly David for joining in and helping us out here. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I really appreciate them taking time because they're in the final QA checks as they're getting ready to launch. Websites that I build here on stream are ways for us to not just exercise those websites, these features, but show you and get some feedback from you about what's right, what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and we can talk about them and grow and push them in the right directions. So when we finish streams here, when folks have comments, feedback that are that are valuable, that we need to hear, I absolutely relay those on to the team. It's taking up memory in your task manager and you don't use Edge. It shouldn't be. Winget Microsoft AZD should be fixed. Oh, that's great, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I dropped a message overnight about that. There we go. So, that sounds weird. Restart your machine, Frostturn. That sounds weird. Like, I have a lot of CPU being used right now because I'm broadcasting with OBS. Oh, here it comes. I will absolutely agree with you that there is something that was deployed in the recent Windows update that is grinding my machine to a halt. Let's see. Come on. Nope. Still waiting. Still waiting. My mouse isn't responding. Like, it should grant. Windows has been doing this and hanging on me since this latest update. There it goes. No, I don't see WebView taking processor on my machine. No. No. Have you installed an app that somebody wrote that uses WebView that's chewing up resources? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Blazer Mr. Magoo. Is it another app that is using WebView too and kind of abusing it and hammering on it? Don't know. Like, click on, right, when you're in Task Manager, like, right, you can click on some of these things and it'll tell you where it's running. Like, you can get properties on some of these things. Right? Stop! And why is Steam running? You, go away. Nope. We're gonna have to close you the old-fashioned way. Smash. Going away. You, Steam. Sort back by name. Oh. Sorting should not be causing my machine to grind. Yeah, you should be able to click on those and see exactly what process it's running inside of. So, but I don't see WebView on my machine at all. But that's this. You saw it yesterday? Okay. No, David did not solve the connector issue. No. Oh boy. Hey, Aztec Consulting. No, it's not even a permission thing at this point, and we're seeing the exact same permission issue with the live version of AspireFi.net and this test version that I'm trying to upload. Yeah, you can right-click on things. If you see WebView 2 in your any application you see in inside of Task Manager, you can right-click on it and do properties and see exactly what's running. So, yeah. There we go. And the message is there. We are continuing to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We were going to try and deploy here today, but we weren't able to. That's the bad news. The good news is we got some help taking a look at it. So, what happened here? I think I just got pulled into a chat discussion. Okay. So it's 12. And I have a call at 1. And I don't really want to pivot and get into something new that I'm not going to finish in 45 minutes. I have a couple different options. I could start looking at and getting into the security feature on this. I could end stream early. I could jump over and play some Overwatch. I don't think I should play Overwatch because we just went through asking them to take a look at a bunch of stuff, and I think it would be irresponsible to start playing a game while other folks are looking at some code for us. Let me wrap up here. We've been doing a lot of streams this week. I'm going to be back tomorrow for a bit. Yeah, let me wrap up for now. We spent a lot of time going around taking a look at all the different things that are going on inside of this .NET Aspire deployment, and there's a couple things that just don't feel right, and I'm happy that I was able to get some of the team to help out. I feel a little bit guilty that I reached out and, hey, this isn't working, and literally everybody came running. But I'm glad that they've got the resources now to take a look at and dig in just a little bit further on it. Yeah, let me wrap up here, and we'll we'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be keeping an ear open for our friends over there to help us out and get the website updated. If we don't get an update, then we'll probably go through and just work on the new security feature tomorrow. Taking a look around, I think I want to get us rated over to... Yeah, let's get rated over to our friend, the Bald-Bearded Builder. He was here a little bit earlier. I know I rated him yesterday, but you know what? I think it works. My managed identity owner is in the resource group, but that doesn't mean the managed identity can write role assignments. It's not writing role assignments. It's trying to access. It's trying to access the storage, and it's being declined. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow. We'll be, by hook or by crook, working on more of Aspirify.net and talking about some of these features, building some of these things. No, it's an error in the role assignments where it's being... Why is it trying to write... Oh, you're right, it is an error writing role assignments. Why is it writing a role assignment? Hang on. If I go back up to access control on this, I thought I gave it complete access. Hang on. Go back over here for a second. Stop that music. Hang on. Access control, role assignments. Here, Aspirify.net. No, I didn't want to be in there. Role assignments. Privileged. Right, there's Aspirify.net. Granted owner access. No. Can only grant reader roles. Take that out. How do I change that? Let's remove and re-add it. Add role assignment. Hey, Grego Waffles. Privileged. We're going to add owner next. Members. There's my deployment. Okay, select that. There it is. Next. Allow user to only assign selected roles. Yeah, highly privileged. Go. So now if I go back to my actions, because all of these are failing. Rerun it and let's see what happens. Yeah, go rerun. It shouldn't be recreating roles. Let's start there. It shouldn't be doing that. There are no roles that we're recreating here. I'm forcing it to use 182. Okay, it's installing all the Aspire Preview 7 stuff. It's going to build. Right, it smells like the bicep generated roles that I didn't have. Hey, LightJack50, hello. So, attempting to provision. This is where we died in the previous runs. This feels dangerous to me because if this misdeploys something, we're dead. The website's completely offline. So, and I identified the Aspire version. I really should make this a build step. So it just executes that. Creating, updating resources. What did it do? What is it doing? Watch this work now. Getting there. All right. Are you kidding? Looks like it's deploying. Nope. Storage endpoint. Storage queue endpoint. App host. Yeah. I'm in on a different problem now. That it can't find it. Right, I'm adding the queues object here, and it's not finding it. And it's declared up there. So, this is something new. But it begs the question, did I just break the website? No. It's still running with the previous version. And it didn't... The thumbnail service isn't deployed. Yeah, that's still from earlier in the week. Yeah. So... progress, but this begs the question. Oh. Yeah. Here's why I can't use this. I needed to generate a new bicep to build this and run this, and I can't generate a new bicep because I'm on the wrong version of AZD. This is a mismatch. This is where I need to rerun because I need new bicep configuration so that it has information about deploying and running the thumbnail service. Either way, I'm dead at this point, and I need to run and use the new bicep configuration. And okay. Yeah. So clearly something changed in the deployment that it's building and allocating new roles. Yeah. It's going to reset the permission, not just reset the permission, but without the bicep update that includes my domain name, it's going to reset the domain name also. And all of a sudden the website will disappear. So. All right. Yeah. Nice catch, Smirking Squiggly, but it's solved the intermediate problem of, oh, you need to have full permission to everything and role management on this. But it's still not quite there. All right. Let me wrap it up and call it here. We were about to raid Bald Bearded Builder. I'm going to kick that off. I will be back tomorrow. And by hook or by crook, we're going to be working on some, partial joy. We'll be working on some code for this website, for this application. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the videos that I have down below, off to the side. Lots of great stuff there. Previous episodes that you can catch up on as well. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to continue raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I'll see you then. But until then, I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.